Welcome, Liberty.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good now. I'm here.
Finally. This is the second time we've tried to line this up and it almost didn't happen again.
Yes. And also because of the weather again.
Well, the first time I actually had to say...
Yeah, you cancelled me.
I mean, George, who's sat behind the camera, will also vouch for this. We've done a podcast in here where it's been that temperature and everyone has been so uncomfortable. And at the end, you just like, get me out of here. And you also, it's almost like when you're just trying to hold a wee and you're trying to concentrate. It's actually really difficult to
and
hold.
you're thinking, like, can people see the sweat running
Coming
down
off
your
the body?
I was waiting for someone to move, like someone else to talk so I could know I wasn't going to be on camera. So I'm like, wipe myself down. But anyway, we didn't do that. But you made it today.
I made it today.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's good to finally get you down. We actually first met at the Fertility show, right?
Yeah.
Randomly.
I wasn't there.
You missed-
You weren't there.
It.
You missed the Sunday, but I went because I was like, I'm sure there's more people to speak to. And, you know, you were one of them. And we just happened to, I think I was having lunch and speaking to maybe Alison. And you came and sat down, could I sit here? And we got chatting and then you tell me about your book. And then Katie came over from Fertility Action.
Yeah.
Obviously, then everyone knows each other in kind of this space. And when I started looking to your story, I thought this is a really interesting story to have on, especially also today, given that it's World IVF Day.
Exactly.
What is the chance?
I'm like, how did I miss that?
We planned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Joyce,
did.
Did you plan it?
Yeah.
Well, no, because it's not going out today.
No, it isn't. It will, but it will be out next week.
Okay, groovy.
But I wanted to start straight away with.
We're diving in.
Pardon?
Diving in.
We need to dive in.
So, am I right in saying you were told you had a 0.7% chance
Yep.
at the age of 43
Yep.
of having a baby with your own eggs?
Yep.
What I want to know is, how did that affect you personally?
Me personally, I felt like a failure because it was my body. It was a female factor, not my partner's factor. And I'd already had a child, so she was, 19 then. And so it was the fact that I couldn't give him a child. And it's also, for me, why I was not going to turn up to this podcast, because I'm real stickler for championing male factor fertility and even just male fertility, even if it's a female factor, of how it affects them, because he ended up having to go on antidepressants over it. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was in a really bad space about it, him more than me. Because I already had that child and I was really open to egg donor and he wasn't. And it was like, what do we do? And it put him in a really bad place.
So did it affect your relationship?
I was going to say, how did that affect your relationship?
We had to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And I've now as a coach,
What conversation?
do we carry on or do we split up?
Yeah.
And I had that conversation last week with a client. I've had that conversation 2 weeks ago with another set of clients. They're like, what do we do? And I'm like, I can't, but you need to have that conversation because, you know, are you going to regret? What do you do?
I don't know that. I don't know how I would feel. I mean, we kind of had it both ways, didn't we? Where we did our tests, and all our tests came back normal. But then you went down the rabbit hole and found a couple of things. But then it was me who then had high DNA fragmentation.
Yeah.
Then it was I describe it as like passing almost the blame baton to each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a pass the parcel.
Yeah.
You're just going to unravel something next.
Yeah, and you never really get you never really get proper answers. You feel like you get an answer and you can do something about it and you have some action points, but then something else comes up, then it's back to you and it's back to me. The reason I ask you that question about how it affected you is because we talk a lot about the medical side of things a lot in this space, but here with us and with Illumina and with No Straight Lines, we really think the emotional side is kind of unheard, especially from the male side.
I was literally just talking to a guy when I was wandering around, I don't know, whatever station I was at, and we were both looking, he was like, you lost? And I was like, yeah, I'm lost. He was like, I'm a bit lost. We're trying to find a way together. And I told him where I was going, and he was like, oh, we had a bit of a fertility journey, and the fact it was me. And
No way.
Yeah, and we had this like huge conversation while trying to find our way. And yeah, it can affect your relationship, even just whoever's factor it is. It affects your sex life, it affects how you feel about your body, everything.
Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, and I was going to say, we not that question specifically or conversation specifically, but we did have words about, you know, if our last round hadn't have worked, that was that for us. We were like, we don't want to do anymore.
Yeah.
And we did have that conversation of that if it didn't work, we would be happy and at peace with just me and Jacky, and like we would be enough.
Yeah.
And I went on a retreat a few years ago, and that's something that I was having. I think I was having Reiki or something like that, and the lady said to me, like, you're holding on to a lot of suppression, and I want you to go away and journal and write about what your life will look like if you had a baby, and also what it would look like if you didn't. And you need to be at peace with both.
I remember that.
Yeah. And but it's still a difficult conversation to have.
It really is. It really is. And I never forget, he sent me away to Whitby to go and do some writing, because he was like, I don't think he was a good space for me to be around as well, for me to try and sort out my body. And my eldest messaging me saying, Mummy, I don't know what to do. He's just wandering around the house playing sad songs on the guitar. And I bought him all the cheap crisps I could find, because he likes cheap crisps. But I don't know what to do next. Like, it was really affecting him. So I got his mates to take him away to Brighton and really like talk about it. And they did. And that really helped.
Good.
Like,
You pushed him to speak to his friends.
yeah, I organised a bunch of like his school friends, the guys he'd been friends with since like, I don't know, 11 or 12, went away together, 4 of them, in an Airbnb,
lovely.
and had like
That's
a
amazing.
fertility
Had a powwow.
intervention, and it really helped.
Was he then more open?
Yeah, he
with
was
you?
really open. He wasn't open about egg donor, but I said, right, let me go and do what I think I would do for my client, and then we'll go back and I might have lowered my inflammation. I can't increase the amount of eggs, but I can help the egg quality, and then maybe they'll take our money and we can have IVF. And within that 3 to 4 months, then I got pregnant.
That is amazing. Can you tell us more about that journey, like what you did to help you get to
There
that
were loads of
result?
things. I started really going for my gut. I was having bone broth for breakfast. I used to do stick fighting, lots of
Stick fighting? What's that?
So you have like bamboo sticks and you fight with them. It's amazing.
With someone else or
yeah,
yourself?
with someone else.
Not on yourself.
Not on yourself.
Just sat there going like this.
But you can come out like looking at beans. But I used to do a lot of like high intensity sports.
Yeah.
And I stopped all that.
like hit classes.
A
and stuff.
hit
Yeah.
classes.
Me too.
You were the same.
I was going to the gym like 7 times a
Yeah.
week, and I started
Getting
doing
really
things
sweaty.
like my face would go like yoga. Don't like yoga. Don't really like Pilates, but I know it's good for me.
Yeah.
So I started doing things like that, like slowing the body down. I have a lot of women now that are, really successful business women, and like go, 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 go.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to fit in their IVF appointments in an egg retrieval in between meetings or launches and things like that. And I'm like, whoa, let's slow it down.
slow down.
You've got to slow it down and get grounded. And I wasn't. I was like that. And so I pulled it back a lot.
Yeah.
I really, really did.
Without saying the word relax.
Yeah, didn't do the relax thing.
Yeah.
Just pulled it back.
Why was the what was the domino for you, which was stop doing such high intensity stuff? Because I feel like that definitely is a thing, and we hear it over and over again, where you have people doing crazy amounts of endurance sports, long distance running, high oxidative stress things. You stopped doing that. What was the reason you did that? Was it?
I don't know. I feel like Ian, lovely Ian Stones.
Yeah.
I feel because Ian used to do my acupuncture when he practiced. That's how I
right.
met him.
Right.
That's how we even know about DNA fragmentation.
Yeah.
Pure chance. She wasn't even there for fertility.
He was
there
just chatting.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
mentioned a few things.
Acupuncture was one of the things that I started.
Yeah, that's that. That was how we met. I'm sure it was Ian who told me to cut back on the high intensity stuff, because I was running, spin.
Oh, yeah, we were going
Yeah,
for
all
it.
those things that were
just
meant to
anything
do.
that would make me feel
Yeah, I was
like
one
I
of
was going
those
to
like
pass out.
pushing the
Yeah.
tire along in the gym. Yeah, I was exercising to the point where I wanted to throw up.
Yeah.
Then I knew I'd done a good session.
Yeah, exactly. Right, red in the face.
Yeah.
And exactly the same as you. weight training, like slow, intentional yoga, Pilates, and walking.
Yeah.
And you mentioned inflammation as well. Like,
Well,
I think
that flips me back because everyone's doing these biological age tests.
Are they?
Now. Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Tell me about that because I don't know anything about that.
So you've got your chronological age, so the number of years you've been on the planet. Then you've got your biological age. So what is your DNA, your cells? What are they telling us about your biological age? But if you do the test when you've just been doing high intensity exercise or some endurance before, like, I don't know, training for a marathon or whatever, your inflammation markers will be up, so it will raise your biological age. Because I've done it when I've been really exercising and my age is higher, and then I've done it when I've been just slow weights and things like that.
And how do you
not
do it?
Exercising fasted?
Yeah.
And my age is different.
Not exercising fasted.
Yeah.
See, that's something, again, I used to do, and I know that is...
Well, like, how are you meant to fit in the exercise, though, as well? Like, you got to get up, you're meant to, I don't know, journal, do everything, then eat, then wait an hour to 2 hours, then go to the gym. Like,
you can't fit it all in.
Yeah,
how'd you do it all?
We were never going to be able to do that. We used to go, before we had little Archie, we were at the gym at 6 o'clock every day, up at 5. When we used to get up, we used to try and meditate, journal. I'd go outside, go in the plunge pool.
We did.
Like, we did all these things because all these are all things you've got to do. There's
Journal,
Instagram,
red light therapy.
Yeah, all the red light therapy
I
as well.
used to do, but the thing is, I used to do this in our when we were trying to get pregnant, like during our IVF treatment. I was doing like self-massage every morning, anything like, hey, I would, if I had the time, I'd go back to doing that again.
Yeah. You love doing that. But it was also about coming back to yourself and being more grounded and being more calm, especially
present,
especially when when we did the super ovulation, when we had to have sex on certain days. You're trying to like be calm as possible because you need to hit these days. Stressful for me, stressful for you, trying to keep calm. All these little things definitely help. But I think coming back full circle to the question was this idea of slowing down. There's something to that. And trying to not really knacker your body, even though society tells you to push yourself as hard as you can because you need to, get to those limits. But yeah, for fertility, it's really bad for you.
Yeah.
It's horrendous. I wanted to ask you about lupus.
Yes.
Because I don't know much about it. Do you know the only reason I know about it is because I used to watch House.
Me too. That's the only way I knew about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to love House. And
that's what the lady said to me. That's what the locum said to me. She said, "Do you watch House?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, I love it."
Yeah.
And she said, it's never lupus. And well, it is, love.
It definitely is.
Yeah,
They always say it's lupus,
with
it never is lupus.
Yeah,
so tell us.
With me, it was.
With you, it was.
Yeah.
But am I right in saying that you've managed to reverse it? That's incredible.
Reverse my symptoms, yeah.
Tell us more about that.
And to me, that's enough. So,
How
people
old are
will
you?
slag me off and say, well, you can't cure it. It's just in remission. Well, dudes, I'm happy to have just gone on, I don't know, 3 trains, ran across London.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, been up and down so many escalators, jumped in a cab. I wouldn't have been able to do that 15 years ago. I wouldn't be able to do any of that. I wouldn't be able to do it.
So
I wouldn't have been able to lift that overnight case.
Yeah, you have basically a holiday suitcase.
Yeah, because I've got all my notebook things. I've got clients tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
everything. I've actually got an LED mask in there.
Have you?
I was like,
Essentials.
I can put that on while I'm writing up client notes.
Well, okay. When did you find out you had lupus? Then what did you do to reverse the symptoms?
I found out, I turned 30 in the July and I was diagnosed with lupus in the November.
Okay.
So when I was 30. My symptoms were, I had a butterfly rash here. I don't know why it's in the shape of a butterfly. It's not pretty like a butterfly. It's quite scaly and not nice. I had lesions here, big one there, big one here, and a big one there. So all my hair was falling out. I weigh 9 stone 2 now. At my lowest, I went down to 5 1/4 stone.
5 1/4 stones. Oh wow, Liberty.
Yeah. So obviously there was no muscle there or anything. So obviously I wouldn't be able to run around.
Does
like
it suppress your appetite?
No, it
or
wasn't.
just-
It wasn't suppressing my appetite. Just it was complete. Just like when you see someone that's ill and it's like
Yeah.
muscle wasted.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just that. Also, my appetite was ruined because I had so many mouth ulcers. So eating was really difficult.
Painful.
And I had nasal ulcers. I had vaginal ulcers. I was bleeding for 3 weeks out of 4.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I was completely anemic. It was like nothing. I had cluster migraines. What else was wrong with me? My skin was flaking on my hands. I had severe pain all the way up there. Also in my jaw. My jaw would click about 40 to 50 times a day.
Oh my God.
You need to have to reset it.
Yeah.
I had really bad pains in my hips, my knees. I had insomnia. I had chronic fatigue. And of course, I had huge anxiety because of all that. Oh, and I also had a really bad gut and bad breath.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long?
I was gorge.
You can laugh about it now, but that sounds brutal, Liberty. That is.
It was
a
brutal.
lot.
Like my eldest had something wrong with her gums, and she was like, "Oh, Mummy, I had to use that really strong mouthwash. You know, the one you used to go through like one big thing a week." And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Oh, it gave me flashbacks. It was awful."
Oh.
So, how long? So, what did you get that later in life, or have you had that since you were younger? When did you know you had lupus?
And how does it come about?
Yeah,
They don't know.
you don't know.
They really don't know. To me, looking back with a lot of doctors that I've worked with, functional and non-functional, to me now going back, looking at my genes, for example, I've done a DNA test. So I know there's a SNP in one of my genes. So I don't produce enough glutathione, which is the master oxidant, right? So if I'm not detoxifying properly, there's going to be a lot of buildup of toxins in my body, and then your body's not going to like it. So that was one. A lot of people who've experienced trauma as well, that fight flight in the body. I know everyone's trauma is different, but for me, I was really beaten as a child, not by my family, but by the local kids. And it's something that I was then, scared of making friends later on in life, because I had like bricks thrown at my head, and I was like,
oh my God.
really had the kicked out of me when I was 6 years old.
You can swear.
So I think
when you were 6,
when I was 6 years old, yeah.
Oh my God.
Man, I'm so sorry.
So I think that sort of trauma as well.
Trauma can sit
for a long
time and in funny places.
Exactly. Then I was put on the contraceptive pill really early, even before I'd even started my periods, because of acne. I know, back in the day. I had loads of mercury fillings. What else? When I was modelling in Asia, they used to lighten all of my skin.
With what?
Lightening products, which we know are not good for you now.
I don't even know what's in.
So it's like they're whitening products. So I think there's a lot of like lead in them and things like that.
To make you less tanned.
To make me less tanned, even though I was born tanned. But of course, I'm in Asia, and occasionally I would be getting a tan, right? 'Cause it was sunny in Thailand.
Of
course.
And so once every 2 weeks, they'd send me off to the salon and whiten
And they'd
up.
bleach you.
They'd bleach me.
So tell us about how you've managed to reverse the symptoms, because that sounds incredible that you've actually managed to do that.
Yeah.
You clearly have.
Yeah, I clearly have.
Clearly have.
And my blood
amazing.
work says, and even just to be not in pain, not taking 18 tablets a day, not on methotrexate, not on anti-malaria drugs, not having cluster migraines, being able to work, being in the studio, not being immensely in debt because I can work now. All of those things are amazing. It is completely life-giving. I worked with a great functional medicine practitioner, and there's many out there, and he worked on everything with me. He was so patient. He would give me the last appointment every day, because I would sit there and go, yeah, but why? And what's that mean? And what is glutathione? And how can I better get it? And why is that diet not good for me? And why do I have to have this? And everything. He was amazing. Even how I spoke about myself.
Kind of like a therapist.
Yeah, he
was
absolutely brilliant. He made me listen to like Les Brown tapes of motivational speaking and everything. He was absolutely brilliant.
And how long did you work with him for then?
Oh golly, on and off for a good few years.
Wow.
And
So I saw a kinesiologist, cranial stachotherapist. I did acupuncture.
Was this
you
all
name it.
recommended to you, or did you
deep dive.
go and find
Well, the
that you
first
needed
thing
that?
I did was I read a paper online by Dr. Tom O'Brien. So if there's anyone out there with any kind of autoimmune, like be it eczema, rheumatoid arthritis, anything, please go and read his work. They call him the Sherlock Holmes of autoimmune. And if it wasn't for reading his work, I wouldn't have thought it was possible. And to whatever degree that is possible for anyone else, if it's 20% better, then that's 20% better.
Exactly.
100%.
It's, it makes a lot of difference.
Definitely.
And he wrote a book called Autoimmune Fix. And it's just brilliant. And I had the honor to meet him last year.
Oh, wow.
And I shared my story with him and we were both crying.
Oh, I bet he was over the moon with that, happy tears.
Yeah. No, it was happy
sure.
tears. I was like, your work has given me my life.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll put those details in the comments
Yeah.
for this, for sure. I want to pivot a little bit over to male fertility, because you're one of the people who, from our experience, in this kind of space, we only launched Luma about a year and a bit
Just
ago.
over a year ago.
Yeah, so last month is our birthday. You're one of the people who we've noticed kind of champions male fertility a little bit more than others. So I want to ask you, where do you think improvements are to be made the most in the male fertility space? Where do you think we're going wrong with male fertility?
We're going wrong in every single direction.
Okay.
Every single direction, in the conversation, in our education, in our focus from the medical field, like going back to ESHRE, the European Society of Reproduction and Embryology. I was there the other week. Any female fertility, the whole conference is on fertility, right? You go to one and it's about a woman. It's full, that room. There's people standing at the back. You go to one about men. I messaged you, didn't I, when I was there, because I was fuming. Yeah. It was like 25% of people in there. Well, if 48 to 50% of infertility is a male factor and 20 to 30% is a sole male factor, why was that room not full? Why was that room not full? Is what I want to know. Yeah. Why are the doctors not in there? Because you get your information from the doctor. The doctor is there to help you. But if you're waiting to see someone about your varicocele, whatever, and there's a huge waiting list because there's not enough doctors focusing in that area, you can't get help quick enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a conversation that keeps popping up over and over again.
Why is nothing changing?
If the doctors aren't even in those rooms. How are the patients supposed to?
They're not going to find out, and that's why I do talk about it. And sometimes people say to me, Why are you doing a thing on male fertility? Always bombs on social media. So I don't care. If that affects one person to go and get more investigation, it was worth the post, rather than a few thousand women looking at the female one. I'm like, men need to be seen and heard.
100%. We did our last podcast, came out a week and a half ago, and it was with me and my two best friends. And we sat exactly here.
I watched it.
You did?
Yeah.
And it's these conversations, we're talking about the doctor side there, the conversations from the patient side and the kind of more emotionally led friendship group kind of side is also something that we don't talk about. As men, we don't talk enough about anything. I always say this, lads would happily sit for half an hour in a pub and not say anything and just be absolutely fine. We don't speak in general. But when it comes to this, with the rise in fertility, and we just did a documentary the other day, Infertile, and watching that and seeing what the future holds for fertility rates and, the decline in replacement rates and all these things. We don't talk about that in general enough, which is crazy. But then from the male perspective, I don't see anyone talking about this side, this stuff. And this is why I wanted to have that conversation with my friends who were on 2 weeks ago, because if that could, the same as what you just said, if this can reach one lad who's going through this, just to reach out to his friend and go, I need to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
Be worth it.
That's
worth it.
That's why in my book, when I wrote my book, my publishers were like, you keep pushing the male narrative as well. And they said, don't you need to just focus mainly on the woman? And I was like, no, That's the whole point.
Who said that? The publisher?
The publishers. And I said, no disrespect to the most famous book. It's brilliant. It starts with an egg, but it also fails at the title because it doesn't just start with the egg.
No, it's also the sperm.
It's also the sperm.
Yeah.
And if,
That's a very good point, because I have that book.
You do have that book.
And it fails at the title because we need that. If that is the most famous book out there and it's brilliant content inside, all of the information, so well researched, but it does not start with the egg. And at the moment, if Professor Shanna Swan is correct, the future generation really need our help. She's, what is it, 2045, she predicts that all couples within industrialized countries will need some kind of assisted fertility solely down to the male factor.
Yeah.
That's
That's
terrible.
19 years.
That's terrifying.
So if you're listening to this and you've got a son who's 5 or 6, you need to start listening so you can have a conversation with them and you can start
Later down the
helping them.
line.
100%.
And instilling good habits and things like that, because it's certainly something that, I don't know, just things that we weren't taught about at school, like learning to look into your fertility a bit sooner.
Well, if we're talking about the documentary that we watched and microplastics, why are they still feeding primary school children on plastic plates?
I know. Well, it's cost. It's got to be. It's got to be monetary focus, right? It's got to be around the bottom line. It's a business. All these
But
things
people,
are business.
you use your plastic baby bottle, you put that in a microwave, then you feed your baby.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
lots of different steps that I think.
Just little
Don't-
removes and replaces. We can't get rid of plastics. It's everywhere, right? But what we can do is limit our exposure where
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah.
And where we can afford to.
Exactly, that's another thing. Cost. We did a lot of this. When we were in our last 2 years, we tracked for 5.5 years. The last 2 years,
Glass Tupperware.
so like endocrine disruptors, not putting perfume on our skin, all these things.
I think that was a big thing. I don't know why.
what was?
I know, like, there's when you make lots of different small changes, it
you
all
don't know which
stacks
one-
up.
yeah.
But I really do feel that cutting out perfume, we stopped using perfume completely.
Where do you spray it? Right? What's
Used
here?
to. Yeah, no.
What's here? Your thyroid.
Yeah.
Your thyroid.
Yeah.
Massively linked.
You
to
know,
fertility.
there's an amazing app called Yucca, and you can scan. It's either cosmetics or
Food.
like food. And
I think it's great. However,
Go on.
some things in there, you can say, oh, it's whatever, or Think Dirty certified, but it does get round it sometimes because you can put 2 chemicals in there, in something, that are not endocrine disruptors. But when you mix the 2 together within chemistry, it makes that endocrine disruptor, but it's not listed on the label.
So there's holes to it then.
There's holes
What, saying
to it.
things are better when they're not?
Yeah.
Well, I
It's
scanned
really, really
a
annoying.
perfume. I won't say which brand, but it said 0 out of 100, and it specifically
Whoa.
said this can affect your fertility. And I was like, right. I only used this particular brand. I had quite a few of them, and I was like, no. It's
We'll tell you afterwards. I remember when you
Yeah.
found that out.
And but
0
I
out
bet,
of 100.
and I used to sell perfume as well, and I used to go to town.
My mouth is still like on pause. I was like, no, I haven't used a chemical perfume in 9 years. There's plenty of options out there.
There
now.
are. There's,
Yeah, there is.
there's
You
some
know,
gorgeous
and
options.
and they don't have to be expensive. There is one company that just uses essential oils and copies the the big brand.
Yeah.
Uses essential oils.
Yeah.
Or just use essential oils.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday when I was in the Northeast, when we were getting changed for the content day,
Yeah.
I won't mention who it is, but one of them was like spraying himself like all over his skin, all of his legs. Like he was about 20 sprays, and I went, "Are you for real?" Do you know what? He said, "Have you ever heard of endocrine disruptors?" He went, "What's that, like a band?" Like just taking the mic. Like they all take the mic out of us, and I'm like, it's too hard to explain right now, but like the amount
none of this 24-hour, 48-hour, 72-hour deodorant. Like, just wash dudes, and drink lots of water.
100%. I'm conscious of time, so I want to talk about one more thing. Your book.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about your
Well,
book.
tell us why you thought you were going to, or did you always know you were going to write something about fertility? And why?
No.
Why this? You didn't.
No.
Well, why? Why this?
Because I did my second ever podcast, and I remember going to it and sweating, just thinking, "Oh my God, I don't really, I'll just talk like I would do it to a client." That's all I thought, because I was just like, pretend there's no one watching, and she's just a client. And it got in one weekend 4 million views. 4 million views. I had 3,000 followers. The podcast had 24,000 followers. It had 4 million views. I had 1,160 something DMs.
Oh, wow.
And hundreds and hundreds of emails. I was getting up at 4 a.m. to answer these people, because I'm like, if someone wants to pour their heart out, I deserve to answer them back.
Yeah.
Like, if they want to share their personal fertility journey, I need to. Then I had my friend we were like, right, let's start. We'll put the people furthest away in a different time zone. They've got to go to the bottom of the pile, and we worked it that way out. But I answered everybody. And then I was like, not everyone can afford me. And I only have a certain amount of time in the day. And I work really in depth with my clients. That's why it's so much money, because I'm on call for you from 12 hours a day, and I will be nagging you, and I'll be checking what your food is. I'll be checking, is your sex life okay? I'll be trying to work out ways to make it okay. I'll be working on your past miscarriages, all
Full package.
I'm the full package. A lot of men hate me at the beginning, and at the end, they want to be my best mate.
Because you're so, I don't want to say intrusive, but because you are getting
I'm like,
in
what are you
there.
doing? What are you doing? Like, and they'll be, I'm like, are you stressed? And they'll be like, no. I'm like, send me a picture of your tongue today. And I'm like, you are stressed because you're biting the side of your tongue. So let's talk about it later, And then I was like, what can I do? And I was chatting to one. It was one of my clients. I was like, what do I do? I have to help these people. I don't know what to do. And she said, well, why don't you put what we do into a book? So I was like, right, I'm going to do that.
Amazing.
And I was like, everyone, even if you can't afford the book, you can get it from the library. So I wrote 25,000 words, and then it was taking me a while because I'm very dyslexic. So there was a lot of red, when you were editing. I was like, listen. And then some words I didn't still even know which word to choose, because I was like, I don't know. And so then I started using Otter, because another client said use Otter. So it's an app, and you speak into it and it types it up, and then I could go in. And that's why it's very conversational, because I have actually just sat there and spoken to someone like I would speak to one of my clients.
Like your clients.
Right, okay.
Because people say it's like having someone just like literally in your ear chatting away to you. And it covers everything from endocrine disruptors to what tests, to why to ask your doctor for certain tests, how to, jazz up your sex life, how to fall back in love with your body and you don't see it as a machine.
But
yeah, I know that's why I brought it up. We needed this book year 3, year 4, because everything was, we were just a
mess.
It was
like the £10 date. I just reminded a client about this. I said, come on, you need to get back to the £10 date, because they've come back to me. They already have a 3-year-old. They were one of my earlier clients, and they've come back again, like, we need to work again.
Yeah.
They know what to do, but they just need that coaching. And I said, you remember the £10 date? So you have £10 and you have to spend it all. But you can't go over, and you can't tell the person what you're going to do. Because quite often we say...
that.
Yeah, exactly. In any relationship, people say, oh, yeah, we went out for dinner, or we're having a weekend away. But £10 is a lot. You have to use your imagination. And it just puts your focus on something a bit more fun. And also recreating your first ever date. That's also my fun one.
I don't think we could do that one.
Why? Dare I ask?
Well, we were
back in our party days.
Yeah, when I was a DJ, so it was a little bit more mad then.
Yeah, but you could DJ some of that set in your house or something.
Oh, so we recreate, not do exactly,
yeah,
exactly
you don't have
the
to
same
do. No,
thing.
you just recreate it. So you could.
Our first date was more like when we went out for a drink at
It's in Manchester. Yeah. We could recreate that in
So there you go.
in Hampshire.
There you go.
Yeah, because
We could.
Or
do
just
it,
just go to Manchester and do that one day.
I'd love to do that.
There you
I would
go.
love to do that.
Right, there you go.
Right.
Send me pictures.
Are we a client now?
Yeah.
So sorry, your book.
Yeah.
Who's it for?
It's for anyone that's on a fertility journey, anyone that's thinking, I'm going to freeze my eggs, because you still got to do the prep.
You do.
It's for mums, dads, sisters, friends of that person that's going on a fertility journey and you don't really know what to say. You know, lots of mums have bought it for their sons, have gone, I don't really know what to say. And I've bought this, and it's opened up that conversation.
Oh, that's great. That's one of the things that we were talking about, especially with the app that we're developing, is having a section for friends and family so they can go and support each other. So
you don't say things like, oh, you can just get a dog.
Yeah. Or go on holiday, or all this sort of stuff.
Just get drunk, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Or you've already got one child, you know, you don't really need another one.
Yeah.
Secondary infertility is a huge thing.
I've had a lot of friends who've gone through secondary infertility, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Well, I think that's all we've got time for. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything else that we haven't discussed?
If you are a young man, go and get your sperm tested.
Yes.
So then you know, because also there's a link to cardiovascular health as well, because reproductive health is not just in isolation. It's about your overall health as well. So it's not that you just don't have great swimmers or whatever it is. It's why. Go and find out the why. Yeah. And hopefully that will lead you on to a healthier journey anyway, because I want people to be healthier parents.
That was you, wasn't it?
100%.
You did a complete 180 on your lifestyle.
And it was the why. It was getting to the source of the problem and not trying to put plasters on. What was the real reason?
Get to the why.
It was diet. It was all the saunas, all these things that I had to sort out. Sorry, but not to digress too much. Where can everyone find you?
Yep.
I'm on Instagram. It's mills.liberty, because some crazy man in Buffalo stole my Instagram a few years ago and wanted me to pay him £1,000 to get it back. So it's mills.liberty, and you can get the book on Amazon, or if you want a signed copy, if you want to dedicate it to someone, always reach out to me and I'll sign you one and post it, because I think that's a nice touch.
Amazing. Lovely. And it's 360 Fertility.
360 Fertility.
Amazing.
Fabulous. Liberty, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us.
Great to see you again. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.